After all these years. Finally, we have them all. It's working! Here we go.
Also, we are adding the Ascension Hex and Temporal Archimedea Arcanes to Arcane Dissolution.
Yes, so if you don't know what this is us doing it in batches, the VOS4 exchange, so that you can get past updates contents in the VOS4 system with someone that is a spoiler, so I won't say, even though.
So, hi everyone. This is going to be a shorter video because ideally I'd like to drop it before the Valis Undermined update is released. This update is going to add quite a bunch of stuff, like a new Warframe, a new Venus open world extension, an Oberon rework, and much more. However, what caught my attention the most was this change. So, there are these three arcanes: the Arcane Hotshot, the Arcane Universal Fallout, and the Arcane Escapist. Arguably, they were the hardest arcanes to max out in the whole game because, basically, to get 21 pieces of each one of them without trading with other players, we needed to play one of the hardest modes in the game with random loadouts every week for around half a year. If you were lucky, I guess it's possible in around 4 months. In my case, it took nearly 7 months of beating almost every single weekly elite, Temporal Archimedea, to max all of them. I think I only skipped around 3 or 4 weeks throughout these 7 months. So after the upcoming update, it's going to be so much easier to obtain them. Not only because now you'll be able to dissolve the arcanes you don't need to get a chance of getting them, but also because the prices on them in the market have already dropped significantly. Anyway, let's quickly take a look at what we're even talking about. I'll start with the Arcane Universal Fallout, because I've shown it in 3 of my videos already. Basically, what it does is it reliably gives these Warframes a ton of energy and HP regeneration by making enemies suffering radiation procs drop universal orbs. To enable these frames to also benefit from this arcane, you simply need to mod their respective exalted weapons with radiation damage and enough status chance. Moving on to the next one, the Arcane Hotshot. This one is probably the most popular among these 3, but honestly, I don't really see why. It's basically a weapon crit mod that takes a whole arcane slot that could be used for something way more useful in most scenarios. Also, it's conditional, and the fact that it only functions for 10 seconds before you have to refresh it is just way too inconvenient. However, there are a few ways to make it work. First, you need a weapon that needs another 300% critical chance. And don't be deceived by this arcane's description. It doesn't give you guaranteed red crits like Citrine's ult or Kalervo's one. It just functions as if these mods were additionally installed into all of your weapons. So anyway, the second thing you need is a Warframe ability, or abilities, that would proc this arcane easily. A universal way to use it on any Warframe would be to use Nova's Null Star with the Neutron Star augment. But as I've said, occupying an arcane slot, as well as a Helminth ability and a mod slot for its augment, is way too much for a weapon crit buff. Now let's discuss the least popular of these 3 arcanes, the Arcane Escapist. To put it simply, it's a super niche arcane that gives you 12 seconds of invulnerability on fatal damage if you have performed at least 3 mercy kills. It lets you store up to 9 stacks, so up to 3 charges of invulnerability. What's good is that nothing prevents us from performing more mercy kills during this period of invincibility. So, in theory, as long as there are a lot of Eximus units around, and as long as you kill them using mercy finishers, you will be invincible. I found it working relatively well on Daga, because she has her own source of similar invulnerability, but to be honest, I would not recommend this playstyle because with it you become an addict. Always on the verge of dying, who's always hungry for Eximus units. And I believe that was about it for today. I definitely recommend y'all to farm at least the Arcane Uni Fallout, as it will make the new reworked Oberon much, much stronger. especially since from now on it's much easier to get this arcane. Please tell me in the comments, what do y'all think about all of this? Bye.